my name is Laura Jane Coleman, and I am doing this presentation about effective communication. So in this presentation, I will be talking about face-to-face communication and some other aspects to do with communication and some theories as well. All of this will be based within my nursery setting that I work with at the moment. So in the beginning, there's the communication process, and we need to use this every day because otherwise what we're trying to say to the parents or other members of staff, they might not be getting understood, or some parents, because of English as additional language, might not be able to understand what you're saying as well. So in the beginning, we have the idea or the aim. So we have, if we're talking to a parent about a child's behaviour, we are talking to them, so that is our aim, that is our idea of what we want to get out of the message that we are sending over. We then go to compose the message, so we are getting ready to talk about it. So we might plan, we might write it down, we might plan a meeting with the parents and get ready so that we are able to say all points necessary so they can understand. We then transmit the message in the form of face-to-face communication, so we will either have a meeting with the parents, maybe do it on the daily handovers in the morning or the afternoon, and also during parents' evenings if it comes up then. The message is then received by the parents, or we're hoping that it's received by the parents then, and that they can understand what we are trying to say to them. The parents will then try to decode the message so they are able to understand and take in what you're saying. And then hopefully, if they've understood the message, they're able to then give us some feedback about why the child might be behaving this way, or what they can maybe do at home, and how we can work together in partnership to overcome this behaviour. So a theorist behind communication is Basil Bernstein, and he believes that there are two different codes of communication, and one of them was being restricted and another one being elaborate. So basically, restricted codes would be in a lot simpler text. So if you were talking to a colleague and you were saying to them, this child's not been behaving very well this morning, you would do it in a bit of a simpler text because you know them and you're able, and they might understand if you shorten down the sentences. Elaborated codes is when you're talking maybe to a parent, you would then go into a bit more full detail and you would say full sentences so they can understand fully what you're trying to say. So some other aspects of effective communication which we have throughout my nursery are obviously face-to-face communication. We have that every day when the child comes in and when the child gets picked up. We have communication books, which we use for some children with English as additional languages, or with parents with additional languages, so that they are able to understand. We do use phone calls and we do use emails. We send out letters if it's necessary about maybe a behaviour, or if it's coming from a SENCO point of view, we might need to send out a letter. We also do reflection on progresses, which gives the parents the chance to look through and see where the child is at their stage, and they also then get that chance to write a comment back and talk to you about it. We also do daily handover charts, which gives the day-to-day about the child, and it says everything that they've eaten, their nappies, their sleeps, and then we write at the bottom as well what we've done with them throughout the day. And then the parents can also then add in extra questions if they feel like they need to ask a bit more about how they ate. We also do parents' evenings termly, so it gives the parents a chance to come in and talk to us about how their child's getting on. And we've also recently just started our iConnect learning journey. So this is all online, where we get to do observations, the reflection on progresses, the baselines, the 2-year checks, everything can go onto there. And parents are also able to upload their own observations, and they're also able to comment on what we've done, and they're able to see it, and it pops up on a little notification. So linking this in with Common Core, Common Core says good communication is central to working with children, young people, families and carers. I think this is really a strong point to go on, because without any of these forms of communication, you're not going to have that basis, you're not going to have that relationship or that bond right from the beginning when that child was starting at nursery. So going on to the key principles, I've chosen 2 key principles from the Common Core, which can relate to my setting. And one of them is 1.1 from Common Core. It says it helps build trust and encourages them to seek advice and user services. Using face-to-face communication is a really strong point for myself within the nursery, also being the Senko rep. I'm able to show my face to the parents and introduce myself straight from the beginning, so that the parents know who they're talking to, and they know that if they've got any concerns they can come to me. Another point is 1.3, involving them in decisions affecting their child can have a positive effect. So within my nursery, like I said earlier, we have reflection on progresses, which they're able to comment on and talk to us about. We have our daily handovers, parents' evening. We also have our planning boards, which they are big display boards, and it means that parents can pick up a pen and they can add a comment to anything on the planning board, and they can get fully involved with the child's interest and what could be happening throughout that week. So I'm now going to compare about face-to-face communication against other forms of communication, which are emails, texts, phone calls, and things like that. But I've done it in the style of a debate. So I've said face-to-face communication, you can talk to the parents and carers directly, but with other forms you can use them more than just 1 or 2 times a day. You can use them whenever you want, or whenever the parents feel like they can talk to us. When you talk face-to-face, parents may understand more about what you are trying to say, but also the other forms are saying it's a lot more flexible. Some parents just want to come in and pick up their child and go. It's easy to communicate in person. Some parents and families may not like having that face-to-face communication, so it is easier for them to maybe have an email or have the iConnect learning journey. But I've done this in the style of Trump versus Clinton because they use a lot of face-to-face communication when they were doing their rallies and they were going around having their meetings and things like that. You saw their face, you know who they are. If they were to just sort of hand you a letter with all their points of what they wanted to say, you might not take it in as much as if it was face-to-face. So going on to face-to-face communication a bit more, I've now got the benefits of face-to-face communication. And I've said, like I said earlier, the point is made very clear and is able to be understood. It can be explained better in an email. Sometimes you might not understand or take things the wrong way in an email or in a text. The parents know who they're talking to as well, especially if you're the key worker. They know that you're the key worker. You know that you're trying to do everything possible for their child. And it's straightforward. The parents, again, know what they're going to be getting from that face-to-face communication. And I found this quote on the internet, which I thought linked in really well. It says, "It allows parents to get to know on a personal level the people responsible for the children's well-being." And I think that's really good because from the start of when we settle in children, you're having that face-to-face communication and they will get to know you. But with the benefits of face-to-face, there also comes barriers. And some of those barriers might be that parents might not understand if English is their second language. It might not always be the parent that picks up. So it could be a grandparent or a friend. So it's just ensuring that that information is still getting back to the parent. Information can be missed or forgotten if you're handed over to someone different, or if, say, I was to finish early one day and I was relying on a staff member to hand over an important bit of information to that child's parents. And some parents maybe don't want to hear what you're saying. If it's about their behaviour, some parents just won't want to take it in. But there are ways of overcoming these barriers. So we do use communication books in the nursery, but I could always use them a bit more and actually write in it a bit more in detail and make sure that I say to the parents, oh, I've written in here for you, just so you know, as well as what I'm telling you now. Ensure that the information still gets back to the parent if it's a grandparent picking up, so maybe give them that phone call or an email. And know when it's best to talk to the parent, if it's about behaviour. You might not want to do it if the parent's coming in at night time to pick up. They might not want to hear it then, they want to just maybe go home. So choosing the time correctly. And also, linking into that, we could do that through parents' evenings or communicating, having meetings with one another. So in conclusion to my presentation, I believe that face-to-face communication is the best form because it is straightforward and parents know what you're trying to say. The end.